Hello, everyone, and welcome to At Barrons. I'm Andy Serwer, and welcome to our guest, Christian Klein, CEO of SAP. Christian, nice to see you. Thanks for joining us.
Yeah, great to be here, Andy.
So SAP is a giant software company based in Europe and primarily makes ERP software, enterprise resource software. And I'm wondering if you could tell us a little bit about what that is and more specifically what you guys do.
Yeah, so SAP, first of all, is a truly global company. We are doing business in over 150 countries. And I guess this is also what makes the company so exciting. So you're seeing the world. Second, 50 years ago, our founder started to say, hey, why are all these finance people closing manually the books? There is no standard. So this is the way how they started. It's still in our DNA. They went to some customers, to some companies, and then coded some software. And what came out is great software for running finance, HR. We are running the supply chains of the world. So all the material flows is actually run by SAP software. And then, of course, also the front office sales service. So that is all part of our portfolio. Of course, we will talk, I guess, about AI and data. That is, of course, the underlying platform. And then, yes, and now, of course, when you look today at SAP, it's actually a very high valuable company. We have actually, a lot of labs around the world, as I said. And yes, it's fun to work with.
Yeah. And just to drill down on the software thing for a second, I mean, you also make CRM, producing CRM software at this point. So sort of a full suite of enterprise software, if you will.
Yes, I mean, when you shop, online, I would make a bet. Everyone here is wearing, some apparel from our customers, and actually, when you shop online, that's oftentimes SAP. When then you click and you want to buy, then oftentimes SAP says, is it on the stock? Is it not on the stock? Where can you pick it up? Or is there home delivery? Then when it goes to a logistics provider, this is SAP again. So we are making sure that the good arrives at time. So we are covering the CRM, the front office, but we are covering also all the logistical supply chains in the world.
Right. And you sort of corrected me when you said you're a global company. When I meant you're based in Europe,
yes.
But obviously you have this global footprint competing against the big Silicon Valley giants. You have a $300 billion or so market capitalization, yes. So right up there with those companies. But talk to us a little bit more about the geographic footprint in terms of percentage sales around the globe, yeah. Christian.
The biggest market is the United States, followed by our home market in Europe. The fastest growing market is actually in Asia. It's also a very exciting market. And look, I mean, many startups in the world also start, their business with SAP on our platform, because it's a real benefit, when you are running your business on a platform who can actually help you to globalize your business in over 100 countries in the world. And that's why, yes, biggest market is US, but we are running everywhere. And that's why also, so customers also saying, hey, on SAP, I can really capture the world.
And so tell us about some of your customers. Maybe you can name some of the big American companies that people know or big global companies that people know.
We have all the global tech companies here in the US. I mean, we have Apple, we have Microsoft, Alphabet, Amazon. They all run SAP. We can continue with retail. Walmart is a great customer. We can continue in the south with Exxon, Chevron. Yeah, they are all running SAP. So actually, we are having customers here across 25 industries. And so, but we are running the very big ones, but we also have really great new brands. Yeah, we have unicorns, like, we have here Databricks is running with SAP. So we start also with small and mid-sized enterprise customers, but we can scale all up, to the very large enterprises.
Right, you compete with names like Workday and Oracle and Salesforce and various markets, right?
Yeah, it depends. Yeah, I mean, Workday is one competitor in one area. We have Oracle, obviously. We have Salesforce. But I guess the good benefit of SAP is, look, as a company, you want to understand how I can run my business end to end. Yeah, so the customer experience doesn't stop at the front office. Yeah, so you need to orchestrate the supply chain because you want to deliver the goods in time. And I guess this is what we are playing out really well. That we say, hey, when you come to SAP, we can give you the best experience for your customers, but also for your employees, because the SAP software is not stuck in silos. And in the age of AI, obviously, data is key. And we can also give you this harmonized data, what you need to really deliver high quality AI.
Right. And your stock trades in Germany, but also in the New York Stock Exchange with ADRs. How are your customers, Christian, right now in terms of the economic environment globally? And are you seeing any trends that you can pull out because there's a lot of talk about a slowdown or not at this point?
Yeah, these days, it's actually a very mixed bag. Yeah? So it's actually, in one quarter, one region does exceptionally well. In the other quarter, we also see that, another region has an outstanding performance. I guess with SAP, it's also oftentimes the case when there are challenging times. Yeah? So inflation hits the market. What do you need? You need software, you need AI for more productivity. So we are sometimes even seeing that when an economy is not so doing well, that actually the IT spend for SAP goes up because we can help to overcome those challenges. Or look at COVID. A lot of supply chains got disrupted. What do you need? You need intelligent software on how to route, still your goods from place A to place B. Yeah, so for us, oftentimes, a crisis doesn't necessarily mean, business is bad, because we can help customers to overcome those crises. Yeah.
Right. A couple more macro questions for you. What about the weaker dollar? A lot of talk about that here in the United States. It's been a pretty dramatic drop.
Yeah.
How does that affect your business?
I would say I could live with a stronger dollar better, because we are headquartered in Europe, and of course the biggest business top line wise is in the US. So so that's why. But of course we do hedging, and we report at constant currency, so that all of our investors and shareholders can also see how the underlying business really performs. So it's not really now a massive impact with regard to our business, our operations. Obviously it hits our nominal figure, so cash flow, etc. But over the last 10 years, it was an up, it was a down, and so for me, I really want to focus on that the underlying business is strong.
What about President Trump's tariffs? Hard to keep track of them sometimes, but they're out there. How does that impact a software business like yours?
I mean, for us, actually, on the one hand side, we need to help our customers to manage those tariffs. Yeah, so they are now reshuffling supply chains. They need to adhere to new regulations. I mean, this is all what our software does, and our customers can rely, despite there are very dynamic times. We're going to make sure that they can run their business on a continuous basis, also according to the new regulations. The business itself, SAP, we are not hit. There's nothing, like a digital tax, neither in Germany nor in the US. And obviously, we are also having a very, very strong footprint here in the US. We have a sovereign cloud here in Washington. We are running, big parts of the US government. Obviously, we are adhering to all of the requirements here. So we have a very, very strong footprint in the US. We are proud about that. And we are actually also planning to expand this footprint.
Christian, I saw recently, I have to ask you this, the EU has opened an investigation into the company, saying that you may have stifled competition for maintenance and support services for your software. What can you tell us about the investigation, your business practices as it pertains to that, and any impact that it might have on the company?
Yeah, so on the best practices or the industry best practices we have in our on-premise maintenance business, these are actually industry best practices. So it's not only that we have these policies, which I actually consider fair policies. So you buy a software, you need to maintain it. Of course, that costs a certain fee, but customers oftentimes also changing the support provider. So this is not like that you only can go with SAP. Now, it's an industry best practice. With regard to the investigation, please understand, cannot comment here on details. I would say we are in a constructive dialogue with the European Union, and I'm keen that we really find a good solution there. Yeah.
Well, you're not alone locking horns with the European Union, because the U.S. technology companies have found that they're doing the same thing at this point. I want to ask you about AI more. And, obviously this is a huge opportunity, maybe problem for SAP in terms of using it internally, but more importantly, changing the business around and directing it for customers. Tell us the whole state of play.
Yeah, I would say, I actually am really, really excited about the next generation of AI. I mean, we are delivering and infusing AI in our software since many, many years. But now with generative AI, of course, this opens up new opportunities for our customers. So SAP's strength is, on the one hand side, we are working with all LLM modules out there. So we use the best module for predictive asset management, for finance, for HR. But in all of these B2B scenarios, you need business data. And so it's good to have our applications, because there is very mission critical data. There's no other tech company who has so much business data than SAP. Now think about that. When the software needs to help you, to build up the next strategic workforce plan, because you need new skills in every industry. AI is changing the jobs. The software, we're going to tell you with embedded AI, what kind of skills do you need? What trainings should you offer for reskilling? So it's always a combination of data, employee data, payment data, skill data, but also then unstructured content, trainings, etc. And this is, these two worlds SAP brings together. And that's why we are very excited about this opportunity. Or when you take a supply chain, for 50 years, we are running the supply chains of the world. Now, we are making sure that we orchestrate the transactional workflows. Now, with AI, we are saying, hey, all your supply chain planning, let us run that. There is maybe, still, of course, an expert sitting there, but there is the AI saying, okay, I give you a demand prediction for your business. We have customers who actually take 3,000 parameters into play. Yeah? So, for example, some retailers, the weather data, others, the pipeline data, etc. So we take all of that, make a prediction, and then the software, the AI, gives you an intelligence proposal on what do I still need to procure, where to manufacture what. And then, of course, this leads to massive, massive savings, because you can always make sure that you have the right products at the right time and you don't order too much or too less. And these are new possibilities. I mean, 50 years ago, it was a transactional system. Now it's a highly intelligent system, which also leads, of course, to massive efficiencies for our customers.
Yeah, I'm glad you gave that example, Christian, because a lot of times people are more abstract about it. So sort of improving supply chain, optimizing it by looking at just a multitude of factors that will be almost impossible for a human being to do, to sort of shift things real time like that. That's fascinating, right?
Yeah, I mean, look, Andy, for me, it's really important to make it tangible. There's so much talk, there's so much hype, but I really feel, what can we deliver here now? And then, of course, the technology, there will be an evolution. But 5-10 years, we talked about shared service centers, running payrolls or doing, some travel recordings. I mean, today we are talking about how can we run a payroll completely autonomous with a higher quality. And so that is, the evolution, from shared service centers to autonomous payrolls. And that is, of course, where we feel SAP is really suited better than anyone else, because we have the data, the systems, and of course, we have the knowledge.
There was an article that came out recently, Christian, that talked about how you had this big migration for your customers going to cloud, but that bump in your revenue was going to be ending in several years, and you need to migrate your customers to AI services that you were just talking about. Is that an accurate assessment of your business over the next 5 years? And if so, are you guys sure that you're going to be able to implement that?
I'm very confident about that. I mean, first I have to say, yes, we are very proud to have 400,000 very loyal customers. That's a gift. And of course, some of them, still run on legacy system. I mean, we have high growth in the cloud. We see the transformation is working. And now with AI and our data platform, they have, of course, a compelling reason even more. And so these 400,000 customers, they are now on the move. But we are not telling them, hey, just move your systems on a cloud infrastructure. We look into your business processes, because your company, no matter which industry, shouldn't run like it did run the last 5 to 10 years, because new technology will change your business model. New technology can actually automate business processes. And that's SAP. Yeah? So we are not only coming to our customer and say, hey, it would be good to shift your SAP system to the cloud. We want to actually also run your business, reinvent how you run your business going forward. So it's about software, AI, data, but also tools, best practices, and honestly, all the time, it's also about the people who can help our customers to do that.
What do you anticipate in terms of employment at SAP given this rollout of AI?
It's a good question, Andy. And we would have really a problem with our credibility if, we see, we expect our top line to grow double digit if our headcount would grow proportionally. So we, of course, expect that we can continue to accelerate our top line growth. Vice versa, of course, on the bottom line and headcount-wise, we're going to see an underproportional growth. We see a lot of fields inside SAP. Take coding of software, take delivering of software, selling, content creation in marketing, AI will be a massive efficiency booster. I mean, we still will need a lot of people, but we will, of course, not need to hire more people. We will just actually cover the additional growth with almost, I would say, flat headcount.
I mentioned you were the biggest software company in Europe, one of the biggest software companies in the world, but there's not that many of them. And, you know, in terms of internet companies, you've got Spotify up in Sweden, there's Klarna now. Why is the U.S. so far ahead in terms of software companies? And what are the Europeans doing about it? It's all up to you.
Yeah, that's a good question. And this question, I mean, I got asked many times. I mean, also I lived for some time in the Silicon Valley in San Mateo, and obviously back in the days, what I could really feel in the Valley. I mean, you walk out, you're gonna meet people, you're gonna meet researchers, you go to a hackathon, you're gonna find great tech companies. There are great private investors who are, really taking risk and making bets. I mean, you have everything there. And when you are, working in such an environment, very smart people at the universities, we have great PhDs at Berkeley, at Stanford. And there are people who actually then also get an idea, said, oh, hey, see what this company does, what this technology can do. I have an idea. And then you find the investors, you find everything there to build up a business. Now, think about that in Europe. When you're sitting in Germany, first of all, you can deal with a lot of regulation. So we regulate before we are innovating. And that's partly true also for the European Union. And of course, here in the US, you have a massive market to scale. The European Union, nevertheless, is not a union with regard to, you have in every country of the European Union different laws, different regulations. So it's hard to scale. I would say it's not impossible to really make a startup successful there. And you mentioned a few examples. But here, of course, the foundation is strong. And I would say Europe needs to become more a union. We should have more the mentality, first innovate and then regulate. Because regulation is not necessarily something bad, but we should first, do it in the right order. Right. And when we are doing that, I see more and more private investors also now looking into Europe. We have strong talents. I mean, we have strong universities. I feel these are the key ingredients what we are missing, and we should work on that. And then Europe has a big potential.
Right. I want to ask you about your stock a little bit more. The PE multiple makes it look pretty expensive, but my understanding is one reason why is because your earnings are depressed relative to American companies because you have to expense compensation like stock options. Is that in fact the case?
Yeah, we count it in. Right. So when you see our results, when you see our bottom line, we actually count in stock option because we feel it's real money and we owe our investors a fair picture of our business. Not everyone is doing that, fair, But I would say also the multiple is that high because I certainly believe there's high confidence. I mean, we have a great strategy. AI is playing into our favor. We showed the last 4 years that we can execute. We have strong people, strong employees. So I would say I take this as a good sign, and I see in SAP a lot of more potential now, especially now, of course, with AI.
Right. And well, as far as the stock options go, Warren Buffett would agree with you, so you're in good company there. But it's not too late to buy the stock then, and you feel confident in terms of those things that you talked about going forward, right?
I'm still a happy shareholder, and so also I have also our investors, the analysts are very positive. And look, we have all the reasons and all the foundation now to really build an even better business going forward. I mean, when I would sit here without, these 400,000 customers, without this rich set of business data, which actually enables us now to do great things in AI, then the picture would look differently. But we have a strong foundation, and from there, I'm sure we can actually accelerate the growth, and of course also, also gain the necessary efficiencies, what our investors rightfully expect from us.
And final question, Christian, how did you get to become the CEO of SAP? I know you live in the United States, you just said, and you've been at the company for a while. Tell us a little bit about your story.
Yeah, I would say some people say sometimes, Christian, you only the whole career you have been with SAP. But indeed, it's true. I was an intern, 18 years old, and then I started as a student. And I lived here in Hoboken, close to New York. And this was the start of my career. And then I have seen everything from SAP, from customer support, finance. I was at SuccessFactors, one of the acquisition. So I learned how to run cloud business. So I also learned how SAP runs, and I understand the culture of the company, which is not unimportant in times of change, in times of transformation. And given my background, I mean, I have seen what the software does for our customers. I see the technology and the possibilities of the future. And for me, it's very important to connect these two worlds. Yeah, we should never code AI just to fall in love with our own AI. It always needs to be in the context of our customers. And I feel this is a background, what I actually gained over the last 25 years. Yes, and as I said, also to be a true global company, you can learn and see something in every part of the world. Yeah, and then I, step by step, and here I am, became the CEO of SAP.
6 years ago, right?
Yeah, 6 years ago, yeah.
All right. Christian Klein, CEO of SAP, thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks a lot, Andy.
This is At Barrons. I'm Andy Serwer. We'll catch you next time.